better roll them dice. You never know if it could change your life. Take a chance, you neither wrong or right. You never know if you don't roll them dice.
Hey, howdy, Rob.
Howdy, Matt.
Hey, it's Dungeon Master of None.
That's right, and as you just heard, I'm Dungeon Master Rob.
And I'm Matt, and Rob, I just got back from the store. It's very exciting. I bought a table. My D&D game is getting big enough. I need another table. This could end in disaster, but giant folding table. Exciting, most essential role-playing game purchase.
Extremely exciting advancement in your Dungeon Master dad development. Yeah, it's I have a long-term plan to someday have a dedicated RPG room. I will have to finish my basement and negotiate with my wife for that to happen. But in I don't know, 10 years, you might see the same thing. But I'm glad
You're currently on a quest to make that happen. You are down there killing rats.
That's true.
You're fighting 1d6 dire rats down in your basement.
I am. Yeah, that is literally on a very long multi-stage quest to someday have a gaming room downstairs.
Listen, if you have a sweet gaming space in your place, send us a letter. Send us an email at dmofnone@gmail.com, because today we are answering your Dungeon Master questions about spaces, about dice, about troublesome players, and other systems. So
that's right. We're here to do what we theoretically have always done, which is answer your questions inconsistently. And with dubious advice. But right. Listen, that's what we're here for.
Yes, none of this constitutes legal or game master advice. We do not have a player dungeon master relationship. Listening to this podcast doesn't make that. But here's our first letter. Dear Matt and Rob, I've been running a D&D club at my school for a few years now, and I was thinking of mixing things up. I'm currently thinking of running D&D and Dungeon World. I haven't played in other systems before, so I'm wondering if either of you have any suggestions of other games. Sincerely, Jim. Jim mentions that she teaches students in grades 5 through 8, so middle school.
Matt, I'm almost positive I know what you're going to say about this, and
yes.
I'm pretty sure I have the exact same opinion, which is I think you should look into OSR stuff. I think there's a lot of really cool OSR, like OSE, Old School Essentials is a great one to start out with. But like the thing about a D&D club at school is that there's often not enough time, in my experience, to like really get into it. But what there is enough time to is just have a fucking dungeon crawl, and a really good one for an hour. And the rules for like OSR games are so streamlined and simple, and you can still have fun, you can still role play, but like I think that's I have really come around to, for something like lunchtime D&D or like after school D&D, a short dungeon crawl focused, especially for kids 5 through 8, or sorry, grades 5 through 8. Not that they can't role play, not that they can't do like the harder stuff, but like it doesn't ask as much from them, and they'll still have fun. So that's my thought.
Right. And you mentioned Dungeon World, Jim. I think that's a really good suggestion. However, it is close enough to D&D. So I second Rob's opinion on OSR games. We're going to talk about one that I think will probably recommend, Shadow Dark, in a couple of episodes. Yeah, the problem is those are basically the same game, right? They're different rules for the same type of game. So, if you want to mix things up and do a game that is not fantasy, I think Masks: A New Generation might be just slightly too mature for grades 5 through 8. But any of the other superhero games we've talked about, like the rules light version of Mutants and Masterminds, if the characters are pre-generated, might be a lot of fun. I know like middle schoolers are really into superheroes, so that one might be good.
Yeah, I mean, you could do anything, and Dungeon World is not a bad idea, especially if you like it. But I really think that if your players like D&D, give an OSR game a shot. I think they might like it, based on my experience with middle schoolers. So, yeah.
My other recommendation is one that we've recommended before, which is Ryutama.
Oh yeah, I've not played Ryutama. I've read through the book. It's cute. It's fun. It's
cute. You want a Studio Ghibli style game? Kids like anime.
This is not a criticism because I think it's delightful. It does not seem like something I'd want to play, though I enjoyed reading it, and I can see why other people would like it. That's not the vibe I'm going for, and it is a very specific vibe. And I think we've talked about this before. Sorry, this is a little off topic, but like,
sure.
Some TTRPGs come with a very like specific feel and type of play, and if that's what you want, that's great. If it's not, obviously it isn't. And Ryutama looks awesome, and it comes highly recommended, but it is not really my type of thing. But your students might like it. You should take a look.
All right, good luck expanding your D&D club to a TTRPG club. I think something everyone should do. Educators must continue molding young minds that Dungeons & Dragons is not the only role-playing game out there. Thanks again for the letter.
This is a great thing to do, Jem, and I'm pleased to hear it. So good luck. If your students, your players are on board, just do what feels fun. Do what sounds good. Our next letter comes from Phil. Phil writes, "Hi, Matt and Rob. Thanks for making the great podcast." You're welcome. It's a labor of love. I was just listening to episode 260, the Fate RPG, and Rob mentioned his deep lore of being active on the nuclear power forums in the early 2000s. I never thought I would actually hear of someone else who was active there. I was a chronic lurker and still fondly remember the Mafia games that went on in the forums. Maybe I even killed Rob at some point. You didn't.
Dear Penthouse, I never thought this would happen to me. I ran into an old member of a forum I was once on.
Though I do remember the Mafia games. They were fun, but I didn't play. I did play, actually... We talked about this before.
Did you do a play-by-post?
I did a play-by-post on the nuclear forums. Wow. I don't even remember what game it was. It may have been entirely unstructured now that I think about it. It might have been a just role play-by-post. God, this is so long ago. Anyway, I have... sorry. This is really fun to hear, Phil. I was too young to be interacting with anybody on the internet. My parents would have been mortified if they had known. I was like 14 when I started posting on the nuclear power forums. That's not too young. But, you know, I was a little dipshit. But I do remember learning a lot of things from people older and smarter than me and enjoying the early internet. Those were heady days.
Right.
Before...
really did a number on your brain, though.
It did. At least I was. Here's the thing: I wasn't on something awful like so many of our weird Twitter peers are,
oh, no.
And I think I could be much worse. I just experienced it secondhand. Phil continues. Anyway, I have recently started a new game in a new group running Exalted 3rd Edition, or a slightly homebrewed version of it to be more exact. I was wondering if you could make an episode discussing this system. Cheers from Berlin, Phil.
Okay, well, so Exalted, for those who don't know, is like a high fantasy, explicitly anti-Tolkien setting that uses an iterated version of the World of Darkness storytelling system. Notoriously, I think it's telling that Phil mentioned a homebrewed version of the system. It can be a quite difficult system to really get all of the cool things that you want to do, but it's a really interesting world and setting. And I can't promise we could review the system, but I would love to review the setting because I think the setting is actually really interesting.
Yeah, I've wanted to talk about Exalted, but like Matt, I'm more interested in the setting than in the system. So, good suggestion, Phil, and thanks for the reminder. Exalted's been on my list for a long time. We will get to that soon. It is something we wanted to talk about.
Really one of the classics that's like been around since the 90s. One of the new classics, I should say.
We should talk about Exalted because it is now, well, it's as old as we are. And there's not that many games that survived the early aughts onslaught of what do we call that the great dying, the grand extinction of TTRPGs. I don't know.
The OGL 1.0 die-off. Yeah, it was it.
World of Warcraft.
It's like the Cretaceous era extinction. Yeah, I don't know. It was bad.
Exalted survived. Exalted continues. People like it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of things you could steal from the setting. The idea of how the gods work, and anyway, so many cool things. Next letter. Thanks again, Phil. And this one is from Nathan. Hey guys, new DM here. First off, I just want to say I love the podcast. I've been working through a lot of your old episodes, and you guys have done a lot to improve the quality of the games I'm running and absolutely boosted my confidence that I can do this. I ended up in the role of DM after having only experienced a single Lost Mines of Phandelver campaign as a player. I enjoy the role of DM, but I feel like I don't have enough experience and knowledge about how player characters work. This makes me hesitant to bring in inexperienced new players because if they have a question about how to handle X with their Dragonborn Paladin or their Tiefling Wizard, I have no idea. I'm really glad nobody chose a rogue for this campaign because I'm still trying to figure out how stealth works in combat. I would love to have
Nathan, and everybody else.
Yes, I think I can try and help explain it as simply as possible. But Nathan says, I would love to have the experience of someone who has played many campaigns as different classes. I'm more of a learn by doing type, but it doesn't seem like that is going to happen anytime soon. Any advice on time efficient things I could be doing? Nathan. Okay, now this is I think a common problem.
This is a common problem. Yeah, no, this is a good question. There's a number of things you can do, but I do want to acknowledge that this is just an issue because as the DM, you are expected, or it falls on you to know these things, which is unfortunate, and it means you have a larger knowledge burden than your players do. I would encourage you not to be too worried about it. I think you'll probably do better than you think. I'm also a learn by doing type of person. Also, 5th edition... I think
Rob is right. The first piece of advice is like, don't worry about this. Like, worry about this when it becomes a problem.
Yeah.
When someone doesn't know how to do what their ability does, then address it. Or like, you notice, hey, this person seems like they have infinite hit points. Maybe they're misinterpreting a rule wrong or something like that, right?
I mean, I'm running a Cyberpunk campaign right now for the first time ever. And I know the rules pretty well, but not anywhere near as well as I know the D&D rules. And I frequently have to tell my players, I'm sorry, I don't know what the range on that is. Let's go to the table. You know, I actually don't know what your role ability does. Let's stop and take a look at it. So you can also just let your players know that you don't know the system as well as you would like, and so occasionally you will stop and have to like reference the book, and if everybody's okay with that, that's no problem. The other thing is, if you want some sort of like practical advice, just make a character. I would do this for each of the classes that you think is going to be relevant. Just draw one up, maybe up to level 3, just so that you like read through the options, pretend as if you were going to make one, select them, and that'll, again, this is a learn by doing thing, turn those into NPCs that you might use or you might not use. Like, draw up a Dragonborn Paladin and a Tiefling Wizard and give them a name, select all of the things. D&D Beyond is really great for this. It gives you, really like walks you through the process, read all the abilities as if you were going to play this character in a campaign, and then just file them away.
And a way to organize your thoughts with that is that Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition, like, you know, beyond the basic mechanics, like class abilities are like discrete packages. Like they could be put on cards. In fact, you could print off the player character D&D Beyond cards for the classes your players are playing and cut out the abilities under Tiefling and Paladin and just have them in cards behind your DM screen, because everything is there. With the exception of spellcasting, right, which is covered in the spellcasting chapter, and with the exception of how different classes get spells, which is covered in the spellcasting entry of each of the classes, right? Because those can be different based on classes, how they prepare spells, how they burn through their spells, all those things. But everything else, you know, is pretty much treated as like everything you need to know about this ability is printed on the card. Or printed under the ability.
That is a really good idea, especially for class abilities. And if you know what your players are coming with, print out those cards, have them in front of you so that you know what a...
Like a tiefling. Like the only thing that makes a tiefling different than anything else is that they have the like hellish rebuke ability.
Right.
Once you read over that, And you know that, okay, that means they also have dark vision and fire resistance, right? Those are, there's not anything different about them once you know that ability. Back to I think the easy, difficult question of how does hide work in D&D? If you don't know, just try and think cinematically or like logically, like, could this person hide? I don't know. Is everyone else distracted? Is there like a pile of empty barrels they can duck behind, right? Is there a crowd they can slip into? Are there shadows? Like, just think, if this was a scene of the movie, could a character disappear? If this was
Matt,
okay,
if this is where the things I think this is bad advice. I think this is not. Surely you have played with players who are not gonna like. They're like, can I stealth? They think it's like a wow button that they click, and I'm like, I'm stealth now. Like they want to know the rules. They want to know, can I use stealth? And if the answer is well,
you missed my preface, Rob, which was if you don't know what the rule is right now, just try and act rationally and logically, which I think is a solve button for many things. However, I think fifth edition stealth, while not the best written, is better than many other games I have read, which again, the bar is very low. Yeah. The idea is that it takes an action to stealth. Anyone can do it, not just rogues. So you need to know this even if you don't have a rogue in your campaign. Rogues are just better at it and can do it faster. So it takes your action if you're in rounds, and you have to have some kind of cover or obscuring or in order to do it. That's like the essence of the rules. Yeah, no, without us spending time really digging deep at it.
It does still end up being a nuisance, but someone does come with a rogue, you'll know what to do. But don't worry too much about it, Nathan. I would just I would draw up some characters just as a test, so that you know what you're looking at, and just tell your players that you're still figuring it out and to be patient. It would also be so cool if your players knew their own rules and you didn't have to worry about it. I often find that I'm having to memorize everybody else's abilities as DM, so maybe this is a good opportunity to insist that your players, if nothing else, know what their abilities and spells do.
And let me explain what that looks like at the table. You can't just say in the middle of combat, when you're all doing a thing like, y'all, everyone's got to learn their characters, right? Because that's not gonna change anything, right? After someone makes a mistake, a way to do this is at the end or the beginning of a session, ask everyone to read through the abilities they've written down or their class entry. It could be on the 5e SRD or the player's handbook or what they've written on their character sheet, and mark any questions or uncertainties. Maybe go in and check in with the character that has a paladin that doesn't know how smite works or something like that. Take time out of your session if it seems like it's a problem.
Yeah. Thank you, Nathan. This next letter comes from Devin. Devin writes, both a recommendation on systems to look at and a comment you had that you can't change a roll after the result in a Powered by the Apocalypse game. I guess the recommendation is Brindlewood Bay. And everything that's been carved from the Brindlewood system have the ability to move your roll up a success level by using a limited resource.
I have played Brindlewood Bay, and this is the case. I guess I stand corrected about my you can't change a roll, but in most Powered by the Apocalypse systems, you can't change a roll. Brindlewood Bay is an exception, and it's a great game. We should do a whole episode on it.
We should do it. I've also... Again, I've read Brindlewood Bay, and I liked it. I've not played it. Anyway, this allows the GM to be really lethal with failures, but then allows your players to narratively circumvent that by putting on a mask and avoiding death. I would love to hear your take on Brindlewood Bay or the Between or their new game, Public Access. Like Matt said, we like it. We think it's good. We'll talk about it. Thank you for the correction. Alternatively, I loved your take on Fate and would like to have someone explain to me how Cortex Prime is different/better. Love your stuff, Devin.
So, I love Fate. Cortex is a 2, but Cortex is a little spin off of the Fate system. It is very similar in that you have tags. I believe, and I could be wrong here, that the Cortex system was developed for the Firefly RPG, and then they made a generic version. The fun thing about the Cortex system is that it sidesteps one of our big complaints about Fate, which is the dice are not interesting. Cortex is all about having different kinds of dice, right? Your abilities could be a D4, it could be a D8, it could be a D12, and you get to have and use and roll all different kinds of dice. So yeah, we should do an episode on Cortex.
Cortex Prime has a really slick website. This is very, again, my sorry, the reason why I'm impressed.
Are you Googling what is Cortex Prime?
No.
Cortex Prime Explainer Reddit 2020.
No, I just went to their website, which is really cool. It's a really slick website. I'd heard of it. I didn't know anything about it, and I'm going to tell you right now that all I know after the last 10 seconds is they have a cool website. I'm impressed by that because listeners, go to the Cyberpunk website sometime, or the Shadowrun website sometime.
Oh God, don't go to the Shadowrun.
The Cyberpunk game websites, and tell me if you think that they've been touched by a competent web designer in the past 10 years. Anyway, this one's neat. So yeah, good
thing neither of those games are about web or the computers or anything that would.
Well, yeah, we'll talk about Cortex Prime because it's different. It's clearly like not. It's something distinct. Great tip, Nathan. Sorry, Devin. Nathan was the last guy. Great tip,
yeah,
Devin.
Thanks, Devin. And thanks for the game recommendation. Next letter. This is from Adam. I have been a DM since I started playing, but finally met someone to DM for me and my daughters as players. We've played 2 sessions so far. After character creation, the DM revealed we were starting out dead. My daughter and I had linked backstories, but it became obvious my old wizard would die again, saving her character. During session 1, the dungeon master reveals my backup character that I had made had been the big bad in hiding all through the backstory I wrote, effectively taking that character from me. So I made another backup. Session 2, my first character gets captured, but now the big bad and the other characters are safe per my request. He then discords me privately and tells me my other character has been turned into a vampire and is now a weapon in the dungeon master arsenal. I'm somewhat pissed, but not sure I have a right to be. My Dungeons & Dragons circle is small. You're all I have to ask. Adam.
Well, I would be pissed.
Yeah, I think first question is, should you be pissed or not? And I would say yes. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
It's up to you whether or not you want to be or feel like being angry. But that's a valid emotion, and I think that it is an extremely good reason to feel that way. I would also be upset. It is up to you, like sort of how you approach that. But this is more practically, this is not good. I don't like this. I don't care for this at all, and I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah. Lay it on us.
I do like incorporating your characters or backup characters or backstories into the broader story. What I don't care for is that you weren't consulted. And not just once, but like multiple times. And that's what's weird. I have been known to occasionally throw like a mild curveball at a player based on like something from their character backstory that I think they will like, and I'm usually correct, but it's never I'm taking away your character or I'm changing something about them. Right. It's like, you have a long-lost brother, or, you're receiving an inheritance from a distant relative, or, your rival is actually this and this and this. I would never
The difference is you're trying to give them something based on kind of the teasers they gave you, right? Do something with this, and you're going for it, whereas, this Dungeon Master is coming in without consultation, just like, oh, sorry, no more backup character for you. Also, major red flag is when, and this is a common thing with both new or shitty dungeon masters. It could be either, right? And they're not necessarily like synonymous or exclusive, though. Is like this high concept thing that wasn't communicated beforehand. Like, it's a really cool thing to be like, everyone starts as dead. You're actually ghosts in the underworld. But like from the letter, I'm guessing it was like everyone made characters and then the dungeon master afterwards, like, actually, you're all dead. Like, yeah, well, okay, maybe I would have made a different character then, right? It it feels very new DM mistake here.
It does. Yeah, Matt makes a good point. Like the type of thing that I was describing is meant to give you something to work with. This DM sounds like they want to tell their own story, and you are just passengers. Yeah, on the ride, which I don't think that's very interesting. I suppose that there are DMs that are engaging and interesting enough where if you're just sort of on a theme park ride, that's fun. But also you should know what you're getting into, and you should have agreed to be a part of that if you just want to, listen to a guy describe his novel.
I don't think anyone is, maybe we're wrong, but I don't think anyone has ever had fun.
I'm trying to be generous here. And so like maybe that's something that some people like, but I'm getting annoyed. Yeah, sorry. So to answer clearly, Adam, like you are right to feel this way, and I'm getting annoyed just thinking about it.
What about not actionable advice?
Yeah, not sharing the premise is also an issue.
Because Adam mentions that their D&D circle is small, so I'm guessing that's a clue to us that, like, okay, they don't just want to quit, right? There's no one else to play or run D&D. They want to try and make this work.
Well, we get questions like this all the time, and sometimes we don't want to be like relationship advice on Reddit, right? Where like every question is answered like, break up with them, dump the motherfucker. Right. We get a lot of questions where like my instinct is like, fuck that guy, don't play with him anymore. But like I would always like to recommend that you try to salvage the relationship first. And so I guess I'm not really optimistic about, again, just from what you've said about this person, but I would go to them and I would just say, I'm not enjoying this part of the game. If you can do a little like compliment sandwich and say, I like this that you do, but I really don't like when you take control of my characters, and that feels very frustrating and unfun.
Turn them into vampires or whatever.
Turn them into vampires. So can we maybe progress the story without, and without any additional surprises or twists that involve me losing control of my character or my backup characters, and just see how that goes over? I would start there.
I mean, that is I think that's the start and the way to do it, because that is such a reasonable request that if this dungeon master gets mad or like, is unable to, after a moment or a beat or two, process this criticism, then I think that's your sign that it's probably not going to work, right? As long as you frame it as like, hey, we had fun. I'm so glad you're running for me and my whole family here. But, like, one of the things that I didn't like was my character got turned into a vampire. I want to play that backup character, especially because my other one died. Can we, if you're going to use something from my backstory or my character, can you just ask first, so I can, not run out of characters in this, I guess, very lethal campaign.
Yeah. Yeah, I would start there and then just see what happens. Again, I hear you when you say your D&D circle is small. You may not have that many players. It's hard to find a DM, but you also don't have to. You don't have to play with somebody who sucks.
Yep.
Give them a chance. Try to fix it, but again, it's supposed to be fun. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Well, best of luck, Adam.
Let us know if you
hopefully you won't have to just jump behind the screen yourself because this doesn't work out. Good luck.
All right. Here's another question. Hello, Dungeon Masters, longtime listener and patron. Love your content a lot and really enjoyed the recent actual prep. I'm starting a new campaign soon, too. I know you folks have some experience with pirate history. Do we ever?
I think it's Rob has some experience with pirate history.
I have a lot of experience, unfortunately. Have you ever run a pirate game? I'm very interested in something seafaring. Any advice or cool ideas are super appreciated. Sawyer. The answer is yes.
Rob is has a graduate degree focused on pirates.
Yes, I have done a lot of pirate history, and Matt, I don't know how well you remember this, but you and I spent the better part of a summer working on a pirate RPG, which we abandoned when we got distracted because we were teenagers. But we did start drawing up the rules for one. But I have run I have run Skull and Shackles, which I think is a tremendous pirate adventure if you stop midway through.
That's right.
It really like the first 3 installments of the adventure path are phenomenal. It also starts with what we consider a major no-no, which is the players, they're basically in jail, but they're press ganged onto a pirate ship. And no weapons, can't fight. There's the overseer of the ship will murder them if they get out of line. But I've run it twice, and it's one of the most fun openings to any adventure path I've ever experienced. So if you like Pathfinder, or D&D, strongly recommend Skull and Shackles.
Episode 52 is our full review of Skull and Shackles. Check that out. 2 things on pirates is, one, I think we should all, stand up in the chat and applaud and pester Rob to give us another episode of Dungeon Master History where he gets into some interesting pirate stories on the channel. I think we should.
There's some good ones that would be interesting, I think, for ideas for gamers for TTRPGs.
And absolutely, I think we should also do an episode on like pirate world building, where we talk about like just a fun brainstorm some ideas for a fun pirate setting or campaign.
I have long wanted to run a pirate themed Savage Worlds campaign because I think the system for Savage Worlds works really well with a swashbuckling pirate adventure. I think there probably is already a setting or at least like a one-shot for Savage Worlds, but are there other... I mean, surely... Am I overlooking like something obvious when it comes to like pirate RPGs? There's settings.
Seventh Sea, I believe, is by old John Wick himself, the Baba Yaga. No, it's the other John Wick. I'm not like a huge fan of John Wick, but it's one of those settings where it's like everything is like, there's not Spain, there's Estalia or something like that. I was just I don't know. I never liked that kind of one-to-one stuff, but it is a game of swashbuckling and romance. And,
I do kind of like that one-to-one if it's done right. I'm a big fan of Guy Gavriel Kay. He does that, it's not Spain, it's whatever. But I didn't love 7th Sea, but 7th Sea, maybe we should talk about it. Maybe it would be useful to talk about a system that neither of us are huge fans of.
I would rather not talk about a John Wick game, if that's okay.
Then I will just say, Sawyer, if you're curious, just go and flip through it. It is not my favorite setting, but it is. There's a lot there to work with. It's by Chaosium. Is we have beef with Chaosium, but it's whatever. It's fine.
But we can promise at least 1, maybe 2 pirate episodes in the future. Thank you for the suggestion.
I have infinite pirate episodes in me, so Sawyer, thanks for the question. We'll talk about this. I'll come with some more specific suggestions because I think. Sorry, here's my big thought. My big brief thought on pirates and pirate RPGs is I think a little bit like a heist or a dungeon crawl, the pirate swashbuckling adventure is a structure that everybody understands and can immediately sort of like drop into and have fun with. And so I think that makes it a really good fit for a TTRPG. I'm not sure that anybody has gotten the feel right yet. I do think that Savage Worlds would be a good system for this. Pulp adventure, right? So stay tuned, Sawyer. We'll come back to this. Good question.
All right, here is our next letter, and this one came to us on Twitter from @TelwinGSF. A request for a latest podcast for ideas. I really enjoyed the best D&D Adventures episodes you did. Any chance you could do the same for Pathfinder or for any other system?
Great question. Have we not done one of these for... We've discussed our favorite Pathfinder adventure paths.
We've reviewed a couple, but I don't think we've done a list of like a big overview of some interesting ones. We could do like We could do a rundown of like every adventure path in
Let's do that.
1 hour and spend some extra time on the ones we actually like.
Yeah, let's do that. I can say a little bit about all of them and a lot about some. That would be a good thing to do. Yeah. Great suggestion, Telvin.
Throw in what are some other good one-off modules? Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's a great idea for an episode.
Actually, that would be fun, and I think that might be useful for our listeners because there are a lot of adventure paths at this point, and we can tell you some about all of them.
All right. So answer yes.
Yes.
Easily done. All right.
Our next question. I'm trying to fill out my table a little, and I asked a player if he knew anyone else who may be able to join. He said yes, but they hardly speak English, but can mostly understand. I'm still a relatively new DM, but I also don't like turning people away from the table. What should I do? Zach,
I can't tell you what to do for your own, mental sanity and stuff, but you should include this person. Listen, it is really hard to learn another language. And having a welcoming group of acquaintances, of at least one of whom is a friend, to do a collaborative activity that involves a lot of conversing is a great way to learn a language. English language learners need our support and help when we can give it to them. I know that when I have been traveling or in a country trying to learn the language that, I very much relied on the kindness of acquaintances, friends, or even strangers to help me develop those language skills. What's the worst that can happen? It takes a few more minutes to run things. This is a great opportunity for both you and them. Yes, do this.
I mostly agree with Matt, and I tend to always say yes, which has gotten me in trouble before, but I think it's a good habit if people want to come to the table. The only thing I'd be concerned about, and if they want to play, that it's probably fine, but it can be difficult to understand the rules in English, and I would hate for an English language learner to feel frustrated or embarrassed. So, but as long as one player's a friend and you're being kind and patient and they know what they're getting into, I agree with Matt. I think this is a good opportunity. If they want to play, they want to learn, I think give them the opportunity to do so. Again, it is your table, and if you're worried about it being, you're allowed to say no, and it won't make you a bad person if you do. But I do think there's a cool opportunity here, and I think Matt disagrees with me. But I think you're allowed to do whatever you want. My advice is also to give it a shot. Let them try, see what happens.
Yeah, see what happens. Listen, one of the things, role-playing games aren't a universal language. They're not math or something. But, there's a lot you can communicate.
Yeah.
With, especially if you have visual aids like pictures, character sheets, the way role-playing game languages are written and, have a lot of math and numbers. And the way you can role-play without talking very much is really great. And, I've had English. I've never had anyone at this level of limited proficiency that I think you're describing, but I've had English language learners at my table before, and it's been great. So
I've had players with English as a second language, and again, not this level of proficiency, but it was fun. And they had a good time. Give it a shot.
All right. Thanks, Zach. Here's our next letter. I've been listening to you guys for about 6 months now, and I am a big fan. I just want to say that your latest episode was amazing on the second Dungeons & Dragons movie.
Wrath of the Dragon God.
That's right. Rob remembered the title. Good job. I could not. I was recently sick and had this movie on my Plex to watch at some unknown time, so I binged it. And the threequel, Book of Vile Darkness, on the same day. I gotta say it was great hearing you guys critique it and giving it the credit where it was due, where they actually did get a few things right. I look forward to your Book of Vile Darkness movie review soon. Spoiler, there's titties. Keep rolling, Rob.
Wow, they really pulled it on the stops for the third one. Listen, I may need
R-rated Dungeons and Dragons movie.
I might need a little several month break before I watch another Dungeons and Dragons. But I do
in 1 year.
I feel like we do eventually have to get to it. I also I hope our listeners like it, because I gotta say I do enjoy our Dungeon Master movie mindset episodes, and I wouldn't hate talking about more movies. You may have noticed we have several friends who are who actually like know about cinema. It's a lot of fun, like have actual like degrees and things. So it's a lot of fun to have them on and talk about terrible movies. So if you like it, please do confirm, and we'll do some more of them, because those are always interesting for me.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob.
Thanks for the letter, Rob. All right, this is from Bennett, and had a question for us about feats. So here's the question. Quick question. I'm DMing my first campaign and it's going well. However, we're about 8 sessions in and the players are starting to talk about leveling up to 4. At the start of the campaign, I stipulated no feats. I hate them in 5e. I think that the death of joy would make it easy to be a lazy role player in combat. But these relentless ingrates are testing the fences. So my questions. 1, am I out of touch, or is it the children who are wrong? 2, do you have any suggestions for getting some feat-like abilities to players who desperately want them, maybe via weapons or a plot event? 3, should I allow one player to take Warcaster at level 4 as an exception to the rule, or is that just asking for trouble later?
Bennett, yeah, so let's take these questions one at a time, right? Is it out of touch to not want feats?
I think it is valid to not want feats, and we must recall that feats are technically an optional rule in 5th edition. Yeah. I personally like feats. I think that they are pretty mild and well written in 5th edition, and they give players a bit more flexibility. I actually give out feats for free in almost all of my games, because I want to throw more challenging combats at them, and I want to give players a little bit more to work with. That being said, I totally understand not liking them, and I don't think that it is out of touch to say no feats. I do at this point though think that your players are going to want them, and look, I want to be the good dad. I want to be the cool dad. I want to be the cool DM. I want them to like me, so I give them feats.
It's hard to say no. I mean, the thing is, a lot of 5e feats basically, they come in a lot of different flavors. I think the most common type is they allow your character to do something that cannot be expressed by the regular class rules. Yeah. Like, okay, I want to be a barbarian who can cast the speak with dead ritual. Okay, yeah, you could get a ritual book through the magic ritualist feat or whatever. And I understand why players would want those types of feats. And
there's also like there are some that like enable, I think, very interesting combat stuff. Like maybe you want to be like a living wall and like use your polearm to stop people from moving through you, or you want to be really dangerous to mages and like get up close and like interrupt their, like there are feats that are cool for that. There are also like you might get your players, they all take lucky. And that's annoying, and they all just like they're like it's lucky is optimally the best feat to take level 1. Yeah, that's annoying. But like I do think that like if it means that they like get an additional ritual or a cantrip or something that like allows them to be a little bit more diversified or to play to their backstory a bit more, I think that's fine. But
yeah, and I understand the like critique, especially against feats that are just like a straight up mechanical buff, like which is technically like lucky, or some of the things that just like let you re-roll damage. And I sort of think that our letter writer is describing the type of feat that like could be replaced by a more creative take on combat, right? Like, Polearm Master actually is really just about describing I am attacking from reach or something like that. I mean, or setting up a shot.
Polearm Master weren't required to do what Polearm Master allows you to do, but in the absence of that, it's
And in that case, I would say that feats, like one of the things you can do if you decide to take some middle ground or you decide still to say no, which is your right, is to try and encourage your players to really be creative in combat and hand out advantage or other mechanical benefits for the creativity that you want to see, that you are afraid that feats are going to kill. Hand out those advantages like candy, right? If you want your players to do them, right? If you want to say, I'm taking the high ground, or I'm making I want to try and make a cleaving attack through 2 enemies at once, or I want a powerful attack, or I'm attacking defensively. Give them the mechanical benefits, and I think you will see the reward. Okay, wait. Next question is, should you give out feat-like abilities via weapons or plots? And I think the answer to this one is definitely yes. boons. Feats make great boons or charms or magical rewards or just riders to a weapon. Why not a great sword that has the benefit of great weapon attack 5 times a day?
Yeah, Matt. I mean, you could plug your half feats here.
Yes.
I think those are. I don't know if you mentioned this to Bennett already, but like, it's a good option. Like, both Matt's half feats or something else, some other homebrew from a third party. There are options that are a little bit less powerful, than a little different feel that can still allow players to have some flexibility and give a little bonus that's not quite so, doesn't do quite as much as the feats that are there do. It's nice to give players things.
Yeah, I think I like my half feat system a lot more than the regular system. But it is clear that the new edition of D&D is definitely not moving in that direction. Half feats left in the dust. The last question Bennett asks was, should I allow one player to take Warcaster as an exception for the rule, or is that asking for trouble?
That is asking for trouble.
Yeah.
Let everyone take a feat. Don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it sucks. It seems like you got somebody who wants to take Warcaster, and there's a good reason for it, but you don't want to give everybody a feat. But either give them all feats or give them no feats.
Yeah, I would also, honestly, I would give someone Warcaster and at least the mechanical benefit part of it, and give them another feat. Like, I hate that Warcaster is a feat, right? Because it's the feat that like polices what is in your hands. Like, oh, you can cast a spell while holding a shield or something like that. I mean, the attack of opportunity spell thing is maybe what they're after. But if it's the hands thing, I hate that, because 5th edition in the rest of its core rules kind of moved away from the action economy relating to what is in your hands, drawing and stowing. I hate to worry about that. And I prefer to hand wave it. Like, what is in your hands is in what you want to be in your hands is in your hands. You don't have to throw your bow on the ground. You're an action superhero. It's back in your quiver, unless there's like something that you've figured out that just really makes the game unfun.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Good luck, Bennett.
Good questions, Bennett. Thank you. All right. Here's a question from Paul. Hey, Matt and Rob. I'm a big fan of the show. It is exactly what I've been looking for in an RPG podcast. Your dulcet tones and valuable insight has made my work tolerable for the last 3 months. Thank you.
It makes me very proud, Rob, when people are listening to our show at work. You should always listen to podcasts at work. That's great.
Listen to podcasts at work.
One of the things that makes life enjoyable these days.
Yes. Anyway, I have a grab bag of questions I'm hoping for your insight on. What is your stance on dubious acquisition of RPG content? I personally have done it in the past and read all sorts of books. The way I see it, it is equivalent to going to the bookstore and looking at a book but not buying it. That said, I have never played a game without buying a legitimate copy of the book, and nearly every TTRPG book I have ever bought has been because I liked what I saw online and could see myself using it. Because of some websites that are now taken down, lots of my hard-earned dollars are now in the hands of creators when they otherwise wouldn't be. I don't really see it as anything but good for the hobby, but I know some people have other takes. Let's answer this one before we go on to the rest.
Let's pause here, because this is a big question,
this is
right?
a big question.
Piracy, great for campaigns. Is it bad in real life?
It's a good question. I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Okay, sure. Well, here, while you think about your words carefully,
No.
I think I'm of the opinion, just as a first principle here, like establish things, is that I don't think piracy has really, hurt any big company out there. I don't think it really, hurt the sales of any of the major RPG publishers, especially Hasbro, Wizard of the Coast. I just don't think it's an issue that it can be proven with any thing. And people who are like, the pirates, if it wasn't for the pirates, I would have been a millionaire as a independent tabletop. I just think you're wrong.
I agree with Matt. I avoid being too specific about, like, I don't know. I don't do. I'm not getting involved in certain leftist political discussions. But on this, I am an anarchist. I believe.
Rob, is it Marxist to pirate?
It is not.
Point Break, the movie.
Bakunin would have liked it. I think information wants to be free, and I think piracy is a victimless crime. I know these are this is maybe more strongly stated than it should be, but this is genuinely how I feel. I do think you should buy a book if you like it. I don't think you should pirate like small creators if, you know, they're clearly like scraping by. But like, also, if you do and you weren't going to buy it, like, here's the thing. If you weren't going to buy it, then you wouldn't buy it. Like, piracy is not a substitution for a purchase. It is a separate action entirely. I know that there are people who are not going to like that we said this. And I know that we have peers who probably do blame piracy for the reason, you know, for why they aren't more successful or more, but I just don't agree, and I don't believe that that's the case. And I don't think that the existence of PDF copies of RPG books has a meaningful impact on sales. I also think it makes it available to lots of people who otherwise would never be able to even like think about like looking at those books. Like, I think, look, we live in capitalism, but I wish we didn't. And I think that like of all the things that make me the most upset, it's like when information is locked behind, you know, wealth. Like, and I think, you know, I feel this way about just about everything. And I'm a person who, you know, who has created things and would like to make money off of my words and art and whatever. But like, I would rather have somebody read something I wrote if they stole it than, you know, not read it at all. And yeah, sorry, this is a long answer. I do feel strongly about this. I think it's okay to pirate TTRPG books. You didn't hear it from us. Don't sue. But I genuinely think that what you've described, pirating to see if you like it, and then if you do like it, buying it is a perfectly acceptable, even optimal version of how to approach this. Matt can remove this. I'm probably going to pirate and reread it because I looked at it last time in an like you described in a bookstore. But I'm not going to purchase it. I'm not going to buy a version of but I need to review it now. I'm thinking about pirates. Anyway.
Okay.
That's my answer to this question.
Yeah, I think, you know, I don't really have the like sophisticated enough like moral or ethical like philosophy to know whether this is good or bad, but I know it is good to buy like role-playing game books from people you want to support who are doing cool and interesting things. And so I do that.
I mean, not to justify anything, but I throw an irresponsible amount of money at like Patreons and like random Kickstarters from people that I like and small creators.
I mean,
books I will never read, by the way, but I'm, you know, maybe someday.
I mean, right now, I think there's probably only one company that really doesn't need any money in the TTRPG space. I think you probably guess which one that is.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I'm not going to say I've never pirated an RPG book. You know, there was a time in my life that I had much less disposable income, closer to none.
These days I like Matt, I have more disposable income, and I like to buy them just so that I have them and don't have to like. But yeah, there was a time when I didn't, and then I usually ended up buying that later when I did have them.
For me, at my point in life now, like if I even want to like read a book, I wanna support that creator. So for me, I buy it, but you know, I'm not gonna tell you it's wrong. I don't know.
Great,
I'm not your dad.
Clearly, great question, Paul.
Yeah, this is an interesting question, though. Thank you.
Don't write us. Don't tell us why we're wrong, or do. I don't know.
Actually, maybe I do. I don't know. I'd love to hear other opinions on this.
Here's Paul's next question. Do you have any advice on keeping pacing consistent? How do you bridge games together from exciting intro to the next exciting bit? My games tend to start off strong with a good hook / dungeon / what have you, and there's a lot of excitement. After they return from the dungeon or whatever they were doing into a town, things start to peter out, and all the energy and the momentum of the adventure is kind of lost. I have a problem with tying together the first adventure to something greater and eventually getting into the flow of a campaign and tying things all together. Maybe I'm just not doing enough prep. So this is another good question. I have a couple of pieces of advice.
Okay, sure, go ahead.
If you have the Cyberpunk Red book, Mike Pondsmith thinks about this very deeply, and he has a whole section at the end about hooks and these sorts of things, and the sort of like narrative flow and adventure. He has a lot of really good suggestions on how to end a session, begin a session, how to keep things moving, how to set a scene and tell a good story. In terms of what you're describing, keeping pacing up, it's one of the better TTRPG resources that I've had experience with. Me personally, if I feel like things are slowing down, I have a number of things in my toolbox, and they're mostly NPCs who want something. Assuming your players are all invested in your world and your campaign, somebody will show up, send a letter, send a messenger, and they'll need something, or they'll have an issue, or whatever, and that gets things moving again. That's usually what I do if I feel like things are slowing.
It's not necessarily more prep, right? I don't think you should think about it, Paul, as not doing enough or more. But if you've already prepped the next dungeon or the next couple possibilities, right, for what could happen in these situations, hit your players with that, roll on that random event or hook table, right? It maybe is just making a table or two for yourself of things that are going to keep happening, because only very rarely in our stories do we, just want to pause where nothing happens, right? And when we do, we generally want to, like, a specific person, like, okay, well, everyone goes back to town and for a month works on their, like, downtime activity, and we're montaging through that, and then the next thing happens, right? And if you don't have that specific goal in mind, throw the next thing is happening, and the players got to get done whatever it was they want to go back to town for, because things are moving, right? If that's how you want to keep the urgency up, already have a couple things happening when the players return from the last quest.
Yeah.
Because remember, they were gone. Things happened.
Right.
They were sleeping in a dungeon for a couple of days.
The world does not stop just because they're in a dungeon. Last question from Paul. How can I bring more life to my social encounters? I feel like my strengths as the GM are engaging in creative combat encounters and good on-the-fly decision-making to keep the gameplay smooth and exciting. However, in lots of social encounters, I struggle to bring that same level of smoothness or excitement. Either my NPCs are one-note or too silly, or both. Paul, this is hard. This is one of the harder things of being a DM.
They're asking you to be a nuanced actor, and that's like a hard thing to do.
You're describing acting, which is a skill that you can learn and practice, but it is not easy.
We know it's not easy because I've seen movies that were like up on the big screen where people got paid lots of money where they were very bad at acting.
It's
so insane that could happen, but it can.
My first piece of advice will just say, you don't have to be good at everything. For example, I am not actually that great at building dungeons. Fortunately, lots of people have done a really good job of this for me, and unlike acting, I can just grab their dungeon and put it in my game. But like I have ADHD. I have a lot of trouble sitting down and focusing on, what's in every single room and how do they tie together and what monsters are in there. I love the idea, and I always get distracted before I finish. You don't have to be an everything DM. You can be good at some things, and maybe social encounters it's not your strength. And
they're
and
a growth area.
But it'd be something that you work on. But it's also okay to not be immediately good at everything.
Unlike dungeons that Rob mentioned, you can't just steal them for your campaign, but you can steal portrayals of NPCs.
Yes.
If, based on the one detail you gave us, that NPCs are either one note or too silly, go back when you have an NPC that is going to do X, look through movies until you find, or TV shows or your favorite books, until you find a character that is as similar as possible to that NPC, and just steal them whole cloth, put them in there, take some of their favorite lines and stuff like that. And, remember our tools. Have the NPCs ask the players questions, right? If you're not great in the social encounter spotlight, just keep flipping that light back onto the players. Just make that don't make them annoying, like, I'm going to end everything a question, but have your NPCs ask your players challenging questions instead of letting them make you perform, right?
Yeah.
Because they will. Don't let those bastards make you do a little monologue. Just ask them a question and turn it back on them.
Don't dance for them. Yeah, they're gonna try to make you do a thing, and put them on the spot. Ask them what their player character would do. Have your NPCs ask them difficult questions. This is good advice. Yeah, and just characters from TV or from movies that you like. Use their voices. Use their mannerisms. You don't have to tell your players what you're doing. Don't, but. If you in your mind are picturing, you know, somebody from a TV show that you like or a movie, and that's fine. Like that's
the mercenary captain they meet is Pullo from HBO's Rome. There, just go with that. Just take some of their lines.
Pullo in my mind before I've you know, just have somebody that ask yourself how they would act, and then do that. That is a really easy way, and then just work on it. Like this is something that you can practice, and acting is hard. Like Matt said, people get paid lots of money to do it badly. So don't be too hard on yourself if you never get great at it. But you can continue
it's okay.
You can continue to practice and have it be a growth area.
All right, everyone. Thanks for listening. Keep writing in with your suggestions for role-playing game systems. We got a couple other suggestions to talk about. Maybe list. Cyberpunk Red again, Gumshoe, Delta Green. Thanks all for sending in your systems. Keep them coming, right? We will probably get to almost all of these eventually. And thank you for your thoughtful Dungeon Master questions. If you have one that you want to send us, again, that email address is dmofnone@gmail.com. And while you're at it, leave us a rating or review on iTunes or Spotify. Helps people find the show.
Thanks for listening, everybody, and keep rolling them dice.
When I was just a lad, looking for my true vocation, my father said, "Now, son, this choice deserves deliberation. Though you could be a doctor, or perhaps a financier, my boy, why not consider a more challenging career?" Hey-ho-ho, you'll cruise the foreign shores. Sing it, lads! Show him you've been practicing! Out of doors. True friendship and adventure are what we can't live without. And when you're a professional pilot, that's what the job's about. Upstage, lads! This is my only...